ivory, blood, and a fortune on the ice. Summer grass is cut like time itself. A seal surfaces once and must never surface again. In Greenland, rope is as valuable as gold. A stone church stands, but the world is getting colder. Every year, one ship must beat the ice to reach Europe. When the fjord freezes early, hope freezes with it. A hungry cow is a clock counting down. An empty doorway tells the ending before the words do. Because some colonies do not fall, they fade. Greenland, the Viking gamble. Part 2, Life at the Edge. The settlement is real. So is the cost. By the year 1000, the Norse have built farms along southern fjords. Now we follow the seasons that keep them alive, and the pressures that slowly pull them apart. A short summer must feed a long winter. Spring arrives late. Snow retreats from turf roofs, and adults step into mud and meltwater, counting losses and planning repairs before the next storm. A short summer must feed a long winter. Stone fences go up again, each rock lifted by hand. Boundaries matter here, for grazing, for neighbors, for survival. They farm on the margin of the possible. In small plots near the fjord, they turn soil with spades and simple plows, trying to coax grain and greens from a thin, rocky earth. Every hay blade is a future heartbeat. Manure is spread like treasure. Every animal is a furnace, and every pile of dung is future grass. Every hay blade is a future heartbeat. Some years, hardy barley will sprout. Other years, only a kitchen garden survives. Onions, herbs, whatever can outrun frost. Every hay blade is a future heartbeat. Dwarf willow and birch are cut for fuel. There are no forests to spare, only shrubs, driftwood, and whatever the sea delivers. A short summer must feed a long winter. Sheep are shorn in early summer. Wool comes off in heavy sheets, warm, oily, and essential for clothing and sails. Here, agriculture is an endurance sport. At the stream, wool is washed, beaten, and wrung. Fingers go numb, but clean fiber means better thread. A short summer must feed a long winter. A spindle turns, twist becomes yarn, yarn becomes cloth. In Greenland, every household is a small factory. Here, agriculture is an endurance sport. On the loom, the rhythm is constant. Lift, pass, beat. The sound of weaving is the sound of a community staying together. Work is constant, because weather is. When the sun finally holds, haymaking begins. Adults cut every meadow they can reach, racing clouds and early frost. Wind dries the grass. Rain can ruin weeks of work in one afternoon, so they watch the sky like sailors. Hay is stacked and stored high, protected like grain in a fortress. Without it, the winter will claim the herd. Cows are milked twice a day. Warm breath fills the byre, and buckets fill slowly, one steady stream at a time. The sea is their second barn. Milk turns into butter and cheese, salted and aged. Dairy is portable calories, the core of Greenland farming. The sea is their second barn. In autumn, animals are slaughtered. Blood is caught, meat is cut, and nothing is wasted. It is harsh, but it is planned. Every successful trip changes the math. Meat hangs in smoke, absorbing preservative heat. Fat drips into a pan. The smell fills the longhouse for days. Every successful trip changes the math. On calm mornings, boats slip onto the fjord. Nets and lines bring cod and char, small but steady additions to the pantry. Protein comes from risk, not convenience. Fish are split and dried in the wind. It is ancient technology, salt, air, and time. Every successful trip changes the math. For real security, they hunt seals, from small boats, from shore, sometimes on the ice. A good strike means food, oil, and hide. The sea is their second barn. Back at the farm, Hide is scraped, stretched, and softened. Seal skin becomes rope, boots, and waterproof layers. On cliffs, seabirds wheel and scream. Adults climb carefully, take in birds and feathers, risking a fall for a meal. They learn which animals pay for effort. Inland, caribou move through valleys. Hunters follow quietly, reading wind and track, knowing that a missed chance may not return. They make and mend weapons, spears, bows, iron points, not for war, but for the work of feeding people. They learn which animals pay for effort. Then comes the most dangerous hunt of all. Men launch north in open boats, chasing walrus for ivory that Europe will pay for. Every successful trip changes the math. On the pack ice, walrus crowd together like boulders with breath. Each one can weigh as much as a small car. Hunting is precise, or it is fatal. A harpoon flies, the line snaps tight. The animal roars. This is not a clean fight. It is raw strength against human coordination. Europe is far, but it sets the prices. When the walrus finally falls, tusks are cut free. The hide is hauled aboard. One success can finance a season. Status travels on ships, not promises. At home, ivory is carved into smooth pieces, chessmen, croziers, ornaments. Greenland turned into European status. Imports keep tools sharp and ranks visible. Trade goods pile up: ivory, hides, rope, wool. The Nar is loaded low in the water, a floating warehouse. Church and trade are linked by letters. If the weather opens, the ship leaves the fjord, threading ice and storm to reach Norway, Iceland, and the markets beyond. Church and trade are linked by letters. In European towns, merchants test the ivory with a knife and a thumbnail. Greenland is far away, but its profits sit on their tables. Status travels on ships, not promises. In return, the colonies need what Greenland cannot give: iron, timber, tar, grain, and the little luxuries that keep status alive. Status travels on ships, not promises. Back in Greenland, iron is reworked endlessly. A blacksmith turns a bar into nails, a nail into a hook into a knife. Church and trade are linked by letters. They also build in stone. Churches rise beside farms, and graveyards fill with generations who never again see Norway. Europe is far, but it sets the prices. On Sundays, adults gather in heavy wool, listening to Latin prayers, hearing about a warm world they cannot imagine anymore. A priest writes letters on parchment, requests for supplies, news of marriages, complaints about ice and hunger. Imports keep tools sharp and ranks visible. During midwinter feasts, they share what they can, sing old songs, and pretend the walls are thicker than they are. Europe is far. By the 1200s, Inuit hunters expand into Greenland. Along the coast, sleek kayaks appear. Quiet, fast, built for the sea. The Arctic rewards the best design ideas. Norse farmers watch from the shore. They are seafarers too, but their boats are heavier and their lives are tied to grass. Sometimes meetings happen, cautious, measured, an iron knife for a sealskin, a glance instead of trust. Survival has many languages. Inuit tools are tuned for the Arctic, toggling harpoons, skin clothing, snow goggles. It is a different technology and a different mindset. The Arctic rewards the best design ideas. The Norse adapt where they can. Better harpoon heads, more seal hunting, more use of the sea. But their farms still anchor them to land. Different cultures solve the same cold. Other times, they keep their distance. Two communities share the same coast, separated by language, by custom, and by fear. They watch each other and learn quietly. On the ice, Inuit hunters move like shadows. Nearby, Norse men work more slowly, learning the rhythm of breathing holes and tide. Survival has many languages. Goods may be left on rocks, taken later. Trade without a handshake. In a harsh land, even trust must be rationed. Different cultures solve the same cold. One people lives in turf longhouses and byres. The other can build shelter from snow and skin. Greenland rewards the flexible. They watch each other and learn quietly. Under the same aurora, smoke from a Norse hearth rises while paddles cut black water. Two survival strategies, one unforgiving island. Then the climate shifts. Summers shorten. Frost comes early, silvering grass before it can be cut. Adaptation becomes desperation. Rain and wind flatten hayfields. A single storm can turn winter feed into rot, and rot into death. A colder summer echoes into winter. Sea ice arrives earlier and stays longer, blocking fjords and narrowing the sailing season. Adaptation becomes desperation. When a Nar is trapped by ice, it is not just a ship. It is the colony's bloodstream suddenly clotted. A colder summer echoes into winter. In the byre, cattle grow thinner. Ribs show. Their warm breath fogs the air, and hay disappears fast. Adaptation becomes desperation. Adults ration food, then ration hope. They stretch dairy, boil bones, and count days until spring. Sea ice can cancel an entire year. Grazing pressures the land. Soil thins. Hillsides scar. In places, the green turns to bare stone. Climate is a slow predator. They cut more turf for walls and fuel, and every cut is a wound in a landscape that heals slowly. After each storm, repairs begin again. Rethatching with sod, resetting stones, clearing snow from doors and roofs. Sea ice can cancel an entire year. To compensate, they hunt more seals in winter, risking thin ice and sudden storms for meat and lamp oil. A colder summer echoes into winter. Sometimes the ice cracks with a sound like thunder. A hunter backs away slowly, knowing the sea beneath can swallow without warning. Spring comes late. Calving and lambing are harder. A delayed thaw can erase an entire farming year. Sea ice can cancel an entire year, and some years no ship comes from Europe. The horizon stays empty. The colony is left talking only to itself. Iron becomes scarce. Tools are patched, then patched again. A broken blade is a crisis, not an inconvenience. The margin shrinks until it disappears. Meanwhile, markets change. Elephant ivory and new trade routes undercut the value of walrus tusks. Greenland's cash crop loses its power. A colder summer echoes into winter. In the west, farms are abandoned first. The western settlement goes silent, its walls filling with snow and weeds. Every loss makes the next winter harder. Ravens and foxes move through empty doorways. In Greenland, an empty house is just another kind of landscape. The strongest farms hold on longest. Survivors concentrate in the eastern settlement, closer to the best grazing and the best sailing routes. People leave, and silence moves in. Life tilts toward the sea. Hunting becomes more central than farming, and every expedition takes men away from the fields. The strongest farms hold on longest. Walrus hunts push farther north, deeper into ice. The payoff is huge, but the risks multiply. The strongest farms hold on longest. Sometimes the sea collects its debt. A wrecked hull lies on the rocks, timbers splintered, cargo scattered. No bodies needed to tell the story. People leave, and silence moves in. Barrels break open. Rope tangles in kelp. A snapped mast points toward the sky like a warning. The strongest farms hold on longest. And still, the church stands at Volsey, stone walls against the wind, a symbol of endurance and of stubbornness. Collapse is often just absence. In 1408, adults gather there for a wedding. Best wool cloaks, Clean boots. A rare moment of joy in a hard century. History rarely ends with a single moment. Vows are spoken. A priest records names and dates. It feels ordinary, which is exactly why it matters. People leave, and silence moves in. Letters carry the news back to Iceland. Wax seals harden. The outside world hears Greenland's voice one last time. History rarely ends with a single moment. The couple will eventually leave Greenland. The ship that takes them away also takes away our final written trace. People leave, and silence moves in. After that, history goes quiet. Farms wink out one by one, not with a battle, but with empty hearths. People leave, and silence moves in. In an abandoned byre, snow drifts over old straw. The animals are gone, the warmth is gone. Memory fades, stone remains. A loom stands unfinished. Thread snaps in dry air. Work pauses and never resumes. Memory fades, stone remains. A rusted nail, half swallowed by turf, is all that remains of a world built on iron and determination. The Arctic keeps the last word. Centuries later, sheep graze near the ruins. Grass grows where voices once argued about borders and hay. Greenland is beautiful and indifferent. From above, the settlements look small, almost delicate. Human geometry pressed into a massive Arctic landscape. Ruins are what survival looks like after. At night, the aurora returns, just as it did for the settlers. Green light over silent walls. The Arctic keeps the last word. Greenland keeps its secrets. But the lesson is clear. In the far north, survival belongs to those who can change, and change fast.